Thank you very much. It is reported that a quorum does exist for the Joint Select Committee to commence business. Those in favor say aye. Those not in favor say no. The ayes have it. Yes, please. Yeah, okay. Joint Committee. Thank you. Good morning to all of you. I think we all have the agenda items. Praise introduction, review and adoption of the agenda item, consultative on the election bill 2021. It should be 2022. I think we need to change that. Okay, good. So can someone move for the adoption of the agenda with amendment, please? Thank you. It is moved and seconded. So good morning to all of 2022. Good morning to all of you, members of the Human Rights Standing Committee, Select Committee on Regional Government, IEC and Ombudsman, SMS, clerks, and our guests from Migration and Sustainable Development in the Gambia, MSDG. We welcome you all to this session. So before we go further, I would like us to introduce ourselves. My humble self, I'm Honorable Suleiman Jammeh, the chair of the Regional Government Select Committee.
Good morning. I am Honorable Swaibu Ture, member for Wildy East and a member of the Human Rights and Constitutional Matters Committee. Thank you.
Use the mic.
Honorable Ali Balde, member for Jara West and a member of the Select Committee on Regional Governance.
Good morning, I'm Honorable Keba Kebaro Combo South, member of the Regional Governance Committee.
Good morning, I'm Honorable Keba Jallo, member for Jara Central Constituency and a member to the Select Committee on Regional Governance.
Okay. Good morning. I am Honorable Esa Conte, a member for Jimara and a member of Select Committee on Regional Government.
My name is Honorable Fatuma Sajai, member for Human Rights Committee. Thank you.
I'm right on time. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Honorable Abdullah Njai from Banjul Central and a member of the Regional Government and Lands Committee. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Yusuf Taylor. I am one of the speakers that will be talking about the diaspora. I'm sure all of you know me as a journalist, but today I've put that hat aside.
Thank you so much, Yusuf. Good morning. My name is Pa Musa Sidibe, and I am from the Migration and Sustainable Development Project in the Gambia. and we'll be doing our position paper on the elections bill.
Good morning. My name is Usman Ture from Migration and Sustainable Development, Gambia.
Good morning. My name is Cherno Jalo, SMS for Regional Governance. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mr. Blai Bondi, Subject Matter Specialist for Select Committee on Regional Governance.
Good morning. My name is Hadi Dande Jabi, SMS for Human Rights and Constitutional Building Committee.
So thank you very much. MSDG project, the Gambia, we once again welcome you to this important session. As we know, the Select Committee is a joint Select Committee responsible to look at the election bill 2022. So for that being the case, we are always open to stakeholders for you to come on board to do the engagement with us. But as you know, this election bill has been there since the 5th legislature, and we have our senior honorable member, Honorable Suwaibu Ture. They did good work, so it's just a continuation. So for that being the case, I think you have a presentation to make. So we will allow you to do your presentation. Then from there we can ask have question and answer session, please. Thank you very much. So the floor is yours now.
Point of observation, sorry, as an SMS, I know I should not be addressing, but if I may have permission. I heard it being said that the agenda was being adopted as amended. Can we kindly be aware of what was the amendment?
Instead of 2021, 2022. Yes, Honorable.
Okay, I'm not sure whether it's consultative meeting on what is adopted, but the bill that we have states 2021. That can only be changed when we are at the consideration stage. So the agenda should say 2021.
Okay. Then we leave it as it is, please. So thank you. Yeah, it's written 2022. So it's 2022.
But the thing is, even if you have 2022, what was presented at the parliament was 2021 bill. And we cannot say 2022. That can be changed when we do the consideration, because you were given a copy. Maybe when they reprinted, they did 2022, but what was tabled at the first reading is 2021.
Yes,
Honorable Ture.
Yes.
Then to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I think this bill is a carry-over bill by the various committees, both committees, and we carried over the 2022, not the 2021. Thank you. Based on the ruling that was done by the speaker, it was the 2022.
Okay. So can we have Honorable Ture?
I don't know. I think we just maintain 2022 because it has been how do you call it, represented. Yes. You know, the 2021 one, we worked on up to after the elections. When we come, we said all bills that were pending, especially in relation to the justice, should be relayed again. So the minister came back again and relayed, and they made a copy and make it 2022. So I think we just go by 2022. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Then MSDG, now you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chairperson of the Human Rights and Constitutional Matters Committee, Local Government Ombudsman, and IEC Matters, Regional Government, by the way. Honorable members of the National Assembly, clerks, special subject matter specialists. Thank you, sorry, and members of the press. I and the MSDG project are here today and are delighted to make a presentation in relation to the elections bill. My name is Pa Musa Sidibe, Associate Director at the MSDG project, and I'm joined here by Usman Toure, Project Associate, and Yusuf Taylor, a returning diasporant and fellow of the MSDG project. We will also be joined by Musa Kamara. Musa Kamara is the Director of Diaspora and Migration Directorate at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And he is currently on a budget back, so he will join us immediately after that. Online, we have Professor Jibril Fall and other colleagues and friends of the MSDG project. Professor Jibril Fall is an expert in diaspora affairs and is the AU lead consultant to implement the AU Legacy Project on African diaspora investment through the creation of African Diaspora Finance Corporation, having produced a framework report in 2019 that was adopted by the AU. He will be followed by Mr. Yusuf Taylor, who will also make a brief intervention on challenges of the Gambian diaspora involvement in elections. I have shared with you copies of our position papers and why we believe the diaspora should vote. And our presentations will be based on these. We have also completed thorough studies of the Gambian diaspora in different countries and cities around the world. And that will give you a breakdown of where Gambians are and why we are maintaining these positions. I would like to thank you once again for giving us this opportunity. And I will want to call Professor Jibril Fall to make his first presentation. Professor Fall.
reducing the power of now. That is the position. And we have worked through this with the IBC and with the people who have put age and some other paper on that. The last paper included in the project is just a selection of some tables and charts from a document we are working in Central Bank of Uganda right now for a remittance pact for the year 2023. The last one on the 16th of June 2023 was the United Nations International Day for Family Remittances. On that day in Nairobi, Kenya, Global Forum on Remittances, Investment and Development was also convened. And out of all of the countries in the world, 2 countries were singled out and given an award for their performance and work relating to diaspora remittances. And those 2 countries were the Republic of Kenya and our beloved Republic of Uganda. And the award was given to the Central Bank in recognition of the work we've been doing with them regarding the monitoring, collection, and dissemination of remittance data. This indeed is important to the discussions and your deliberations on the election data for a number of reasons. In the year 2022, 712 billion US dollars came from the diaspora into Gambia through formal means. This, as it has been in previous years, is by far the biggest source of development finance, a regular and countercyclical release into the country. Through our research and work with Central Bank, we also found that in 2022, the amount of informal remittances was about 175 billion, meaning that last year, about 887 million of remittances came into the country. And this comes from about 10% of the population contributing significantly more, disproportionately more, towards GDP and towards influence and development to Gambia. Our submission will not focus much on the things that have gone wrong. But in this August gathering and before you, the honorable members, we will have to remember that we do have a duty to help us and to help us urgently in that remedial action is needed to end most egregious injustice, which is the disenfranchisement of the Gambian diaspora, Gambian citizens, 7 years after, almost 7 years after the end of the revolution. And whenever you think there are doubts or concerns as to whether you should speed this and make it happen, remember that in colonial Gambia, the colonial oppressors made the decision that a significant part of the population will be disenfranchised, and that was protectorate Gambia. Voting in Gambia when it started was limited to the colony, meaning the provinces, as it was referred to, the protectorate, were denied the right to vote. Today, in July of 2023, the Republic of the Gambia still makes the decision that it will disenfranchise over 10% of its population, who are among the most productive economically in the country. That I want you to keep in mind whenever it arises that there might be a logical challenge. Of the 8 regions of the Gambia, those regions with 359,451 on the electoral roll. Number 2 would be Kaniki municipality with 179,800 on the electoral roll. The Gambian diaspora population is about 200,000, and about 175,000 of those would be eligible voters. So the Gambia in 2023 still disenfranchises its third biggest region, a region bigger than 5 of the country. On the election bill that is before you, we at the MSDG have been diligent in coordinating with all of the main stakeholders to make our inputs, and we are pleased to tell you that in the last parliament and this one, the parliamentarians who have been keen to listen to us and to incorporate the suggestions that we make. We are hoping that with the urgency it deserves, the relevant changes will happen soon, and this bill will be law, and all of the state and the egregious disenfranchisement will come to play. At MSDG, we are also pleased for our other cooperation with the National Assembly through the Office of the Clerk, in that we work with your communication team to set up the National Assembly TV, which with the full studio and of course the remote control cameras. And I understand as we speak this, like all other sections of the National Assembly, are broadcast live. This is important not only for the parliamentary engagement with the population in Gambia, but also with the population abroad. In October of 2020, when this bill before you was still referred to as the Election Bill 2020, we engaged with the Ministry of Justice and made 23 suggestions and changes which were incorporated by the ministry before they sent the bill to the Parliament. We are most grateful and we recognize the role of the ministry at the time. When the bill was before you in the last Parliament, we made 19 recommended changes, of which 15 were included in the draft that is before you. So the ones that we want to call to your attention are 3 specific clauses, and then to raise 3 other related matters. And that I would do very quickly and end my presentation so that my colleague, Mr. Pedro, will add 2 points before we have the interactive session. I don't know whether you have the bill before you, but you don't necessarily need to. I will go through the points quickly, and as I said, we will be submitting relative aid. One of them is more technicality, that is Section 66 on the method of voting. It refers under Section 66, 5B. It talks about the voting card to be signed and dated on the reverse, signed and dated the reverse of the voter's card. That's also technicality we are flagging up because voter's card is now a plastic. So that signing on the reverse may not be relevant. So that's a minor technicality. A substantive point, the first substantive point of the 3 is Section 135, the right to vote and evidence of identity. Clause 1 of that provision says, a registered voter in any constituency is entitled to vote at the referendum unless otherwise disqualified from voting by any other written law. And our suggestion is that the words in any constituency be replaced with any electoral division section 151. That is power of commission to make the rules, meaning the power of the IEC to make the rules. Right now, it says that the commission may make rules generally for the better carrying out of the provisions of this act, and shall in particular make rules, and that it has a list of the specific rules it makes. And we are making two suggestions to be added in as B and C after A. B, we propose that the rules to be made would be for the registration of and conduct of elections for Gambians abroad. Because all of the engagements we have with the IEC is that they have to make rules, because the voting procedure will be slightly different for the non-resident Gambian population. So a rule on the registration of and conduct of elections of Gambians abroad. The second rule we propose should be in, that is a rule to consider electronic voting for Gambians abroad. The fact that the IEC will have the power in the law to write the rules on electoral voting does not electronic voting does not mean that it has to do it straight away. But we are asking the National Assembly to consider this and make this option available. Electronic voting ultimately would be the most effective way of enfranchising the Gambians resident abroad. Some of the concerns people have raised about the security are no worse and no more perilous than the risk faced with physical voting. At the end of the day, some of the people I know, especially the gents and the giants, they love their money more than their vote, and yet they use electronic means to control their money, put their monies under electronic wallets, and it is relatively safe and secure. And electoral voting happens in many countries in the world, including in Africa. So the possibility for the IEC to make rules on that, we think should be there. And final substantive point on the bill itself is the section on schedules. Right now on the schedule, it refers to administrative areas alone in a manner, and because it lists the specific constituencies, it then deliberately almost excludes the diaspora. So we think it should have wording to the effect administrative areas and constituencies as determined in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and border law. Because if you are putting the schedule of the constituencies in the bill, and of course, the definition of constituencies is not determined by the bill, it is determined by the Constitution. You would need to give yourself some room there, so that when change happens at the Constitution, you don't necessarily have to change the bill and the schedules attached to it. Finally, now that we've mentioned, those are our substantive submissions on the bill. We are keeping an eye, and we ask the Joint Committee and the clerks to help us by furnishing us with information on any changes you may make as we progress, so that we keep an eye to see whether it has any effect on the provisions we made or any other effect on diaspora voting. Another related matter is that the elections bill will solve the problem of the registration of facilitating voting at the next cycle of elections. And the IEC have made commitments to do two things around now constitutional amendment affecting parts that are not entrenched to finalize, complete the enfranchisement of the diaspora. And that relates to 3 simple constitutional amendments, which is the Foreign Affairs Committee of the last Parliament drafted that bill. And we think as joint committees, we are asking you, we are begging you to take it on and make it happen. And it relates to 3 matters. Section 71, which right now says that if you have a citizenship more than just your Gambian one, you are not allowed to be a minister. That provision should be deleted. Section 88 says that there are 53 constituencies. There should be 58 constituencies at least. That is the 5 constituencies of the diaspora. And the proposals for that demarcation is also present. And the last is section 90, which says that again, if you have more than just Gambian citizenship, you cannot sit as a member of the National Assembly. That should be deleted. Honorable members, colleagues and friends, in case to make diaspora representation and enfranchisement happen, it's not a matter to make a debate or discussion. It speaks for itself. Not doing it is equivalent to the law disenfranchising all of you sitting there and your families and extended family. Because that is who we are. We are your mothers, your daughters, your nieces, your aunties, and your grandchildren. Thank you for your kind invitation and attention. Over to you, Council.
Thank you so much, Professor Fall. I will just pass the mic on to Yusuf Taylor. Like I've said, and Professor Fall had also said, you've got part of his presentation already with you. But if there are any further facts that you need from us, kindly let us know. I'll pass it to you.
Sorry, the last sections, constitutional amendments. So the last one is not too clear. I don't know, is it section 9 or 90? 90. 90, okay.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Yusuf Taylor. I am a returning Gambian diaspora. So I returned back. Switch off. Pamsa, switch off. Please. The mics. How dare you? Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members, for giving us this opportunity to talk to you about the diaspora and our involvement also in this country's elections. And even referendum constitution is around the corner, which is also, hopefully, if you pass the constitution, that will also be on the table. So there is a lot that Gambians abroad would gain and benefit if you were to go ahead and ensure that the diaspora are involved in our local politics. Honorable members, I returned back home in 2018 after spending 11 long years in the diaspora in the UK, where I studied and worked for 6 years in that period. It coincidentally that by the time I left, I hadn't even had the opportunity to register and vote because of my age. And then, so precisely, I never ever managed to be involved politically to vote in the Gambia's elections until after I returned in 2018. And I'm sure you will know, many Gambians do travel abroad. You've seen the numbers, they've spoken about the numbers and how, if you consider the diaspora as one block, they rank as third highest. So, and many Gambians at one point will find themselves out of this country, either for work reasons, study reasons, and whilst they are outside, they will fall into this hole, which is you are in no man's land. You cannot vote in many places where you have traveled to, and you are living and residing because you are not a citizen, perhaps after staying there for a very long period and naturalizing. Eventually you can politically participate, but you cannot vote in your home country because diaspora voting has not been effected fully yet, operationalized. So to be able to vote when I was abroad, I had to travel. I had to, of course I wasn't that rich, I couldn't, but I had to travel at a specific time when the registration period was open. Because in Gambia, our registration is not all year round. You can only register. And if you miss that window of registering, you cannot join the voter register. That is it. So that is the first hurdle for anybody living abroad. That period when IEC says it's time to register is your only chance to come into the country and register. Then after that you return. When the election comes, for any of the elections that you want to participate in, you must have saved a lot of money so that you can travel back home and vote. I'm sure you can all see the impracticality of that. Even here in Gambia, other citizens, they are voting here, African citizens, they are voting here for their national elections. And I'm sure you wouldn't want the Gambia to be left behind. Honorable members, I want to bring to your attention that in March 2021, before the presidential election, the Supreme Court had ruled about the diaspora making sure that they should be able to vote. And unfortunately, that did not take place. But we have seen Gambians in the diaspora have decided to take the matter to court. But now it is we have finished one electoral cycle. Many were concerned, oh, there is not enough time between March to register, operationalize that. Fine. Then what then happened? Many in the diaspora have missed all those elections opportunity. That is presidential, the local government elections, mayoral elections, and all of that which you have just seen has happened. Well, now we can confidently say that that whole cycle has now been completed. And the time is now. Because if you ensure that the diaspora will be able to vote, then the diaspora will be able to participate in the whole next electoral cycle, which will fall upon us very quickly before you know it. So this is the reason why I am not here to focus on the technical aspects, but I wanted you to see the realistic, the practical aspects of diaspora being able to vote and the reasons why we need you, our honorable representatives, to do the needful, to ensure that, I'm sure I see some parliamentarians who were here in the 5th legislature, they had that opportunity to make sure it was during their term that this was brought in. And some of them are also here. I'm sure they will carry that knowledge. But we are now calling on all of you in this current legislature to make sure that the next constitution, for example, which may come, and we are looking forward to it, will be something that Gambians across the globe will be able to participate in. It is not just about casting your ballot, but participating in the electoral process and being a Gambian, maintaining your connection with your country so that you can even rise to the rank of representing members in the diaspora. There are many, many benefits for this because we know how much the diaspora is contributing. Just earlier this year, 2023, it was noted that the Gambian diaspora contribute over 60% to the GDP of this country, which is a huge amount and something that even diaspora representatives can make sure that that only continues to rise. And Gambians will not only be 1 and 2 with Kenya across the whole African diaspora, which shows you just how much the Gambian diaspora are investing into their beloved nation, but that can continue to increase and increase. Gambia will be number 1. So we call on you, this is my final take, it's a plea, to ensure that it doesn't need to go to court because of some Gambians were demanding that the Supreme Court ruling must be enforced. So in that way, I believe you have the power to ensure that this doesn't even need to get to that position. And right now is the right time, having completed the last electoral cycle, and we have some breathing space for this law to be passed. When this law is passed, before the next electoral cycle completely starts kicking in, then all the stakeholders and political actors will have time to go through these new rules of the game that the IEC will be implementing. And it is in your power to make sure that those rules of the games are adequate for Gambians across the globe. With that, I humbly submit to you National Assembly members. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Chairman. I would like to remind us again that we have one more member of our delegation, Musa Kamara, Director at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's still in that meeting, so whenever he joins us before we wrap up, then he will also make a presentation from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs' point of view, because we had consultations with all stakeholders involved. Thank you so much. I will yield back to you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Pamusa, and thank you, Mr. Jibril Fall, for that wonderful statement. So now I think we can just allow members to ask questions concerning about some of the statement delivered here. Thank you. Honorable Ture, please.
Okay, thank you very much, MSDG, for the presentation. As you know, we've had a meeting before on this matter, and then the issue that was there was the obstacle that he mentioned. That the IEC complained that they cannot go with ballot boxes and ballot tokens across the world to conduct elections. And what we have done then for our recommendation, which are still not being laid, we are still working on it, was for us to put 2, that is marble ballot paper, so that the IEC will conduct elections wherever, looking at what is convenient for them in each situation. But now the issue of electronic voting has arisen. But really, IEC has never mentioned that to us, And I could not remember anybody mentioning that to us. But it's a new thing which has been raised, and what we need to do is to invite the IEC and invite other experts, legal experts and other experts in elections. That is our role, to ensure that we understand what electronic voting entails. So there are also constitutional and other reasons which must be reconciled. We all know all the issues they have raised regarding diaspora voting, etc., and demarcation, because even in the country we have problem with demarcation. We complain that a constituency like Janjambure, which is just a village, equal to my village, is a constituency, while you have other constituencies that are more than 100,000 voters. But now you have a constituency which is just 1,200 voters. So that is very unequal. So what is required to do is to create a demarcation, a boundaries demarcation commission that will demarcate the country in a proper way, proper electoral way, so that all these imbalances between constituencies will be out. Now, you mentioned section 71, 70, 88, and 90. And I believe, apart from that also, like I said, there will be other sections that we'll have to look at, because this constitution that we have is very dialectical. When you touch one, it takes you to another one. You touch that, it goes to another one. So we need to look at the whole, all the laws in the constitution, relating to the constitution, and then ensure that they all correlate to one. And then to do that, we have our SMS. We also need to invite legal experts. And I believe what the presenter said, it looks like there is a need for a retreat. Even if it is going to be a one-day retreat, but there is a need for retreat where we have all these experts and we look at all these issues that we are mentioning, so that we'll be able to address all these problems. But diaspora voting is already in the constitution. So it's how do we ensure that it happens? And I believe one thing he said must happen, that is the registration. We've already done the first cycle. Now we are going to, before we get to because the ECOWAS law is there, protocol is there. There is a time frame beyond which we cannot change the electoral laws. So we must fast track this thing to ensure that all these things are addressed, so that, like he said, the ball can be got rolling. We have to invite the IEC also to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ture. Yes, Honorable Njai.
Thank you very much. I think this is a good session today, because it's something that we've all been waiting for. And we thank the professor for a very thorough report, and also my brother and friend, Lexdan. I would also like to remind the professor that, yes, they've had those meetings with the Foreign Affairs Committee, and he's proposed for a constitution reform. But this human rights is also responsible for constitutional matters. So I would suggest that he shares the report so that we can take it up, because it's not a matter for the Foreign Affairs Committee. And then this committee will take it up, because it is of great significance that we deal with it, especially when it comes to people's rights to vote. It is stated in the Constitution, Section 39, that every citizen of the Gambia, being 18 years, has the right to vote, of course. And what my honorable colleague Swaibu has mentioned, yes, you have a right to vote. Now, what needs to be factored is the logistics, like he's suggested and given us some advice on how to do it. So as a committee and as representative of the people, that is one thing that we must look at, and we would definitely be looking into those things for, and he's also mentioned that those are not entrenched clauses. Of course, as a committee, this assembly has never brought up a committee bill. And I think it will be good for this committee, the Human Rights and Constitutional Matters Committee, to come up with those changes pending a new constitution. Because I don't see, I'm not criticizing anything, but I'm just saying what is the reality. I don't envisage the constitution coming anytime soon, but that shouldn't stop us from amending very important clauses in the constitution that are not entrenched. So with the support, you guys are professionals, we are representatives, but that doesn't make us professionals. We are elected by the people, and that does not make us the best. That is the beauty of democracy. But with your support and guidance, we can come up with a committee bill to amend those clauses, because we have 5 years before elections. That would give us time. The sooner we start it, the better, because we have experience. When I presented my private member bill, it was very close to elections, and that affected it. The members did not reject the bill, but it was negated due to lack of quorum and because of the timing. So learning from that, I think we should start as soon as possible to amend those 3 sections if they are not entrenched, and you've clearly said they are not entrenched, and also look into the demarcation if they are also not entrenched. So I think with your guidance and support, the committee is willing and open. The chair is here and he can attest to it that he is always willing to work with civil society and any other professional. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Njai. Equally, I want to recognize the presence of the chair of the Human Rights Committee, Honorable Madi Sise. You are welcome, Alhaji. You want to? Okay, Honorable Sise.
Thank you very much, Chair, for giving me the opportunity. Professor Fall, thank you so much for that insightful deliberation, and also your colleague from MSDG. We are very much grateful. You have noted very important points, and I would like to join Right Honorable Njai to say that this committee is committed to leave a legacy at the end of our term. And to that effect, I will want to say that it is going to be a very good legacy for us if we have all your points and your concerns noted, and also if it has an effect on our deliberations as the 6th legislature and as a committee. I had the opportunity to attend one of your programs at the conference center, and having listened to the various statements from various speakers, I realized that the diaspora is a very key section of our society as Gambia. Over 200,000 people is more than even the capital city, Banjul, which has been demarcated to 3 constituencies. So definitely, and considering the amount of money that has been sent through remittances by our diaspora brothers, I think, brothers and sisters, I think it is high time we also give you your share in the cake. That is to say, you have been doing a lot, spending a lot in this country, but you have no say, you have no wording onto how this country would be governed. You are stripped of all your rights, which we understand as a committee. And I believe that my honorable colleagues would like to join the chairman and the MSDG in this struggle to make sure that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. We would want to join you in this struggle to make sure that all these constitutional requirements are put in place to make sure that you have your right to vote. Though it is already established in the Constitution, but it is not a realistic to the diaspora. To make it realistic, that all stakeholders need to come on board to make sure that we consider it happen. If you look at the Constitution, which you have already outlined, Section 26, Section 39, and Section 50 has provided you with all the powers, and also us with all the powers, and including the Independent Electoral Commission with the powers to give you that opportunity and that fundamental human right to vote and be voted for. To that extent, I would like us, the Joint Committee, to make sure that we stop the talking and do the doing. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Osisi, okay.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, colleagues, partners from the diaspora. There is no doubt these two committees are really up and willing to make sure that Gambians everywhere vote or take part in our electoral systems. I have a question for clarity. There is the electronic voting. I want Prof and your team to throw more light on that, looking at the illiteracy of this country. We're trying to move from marbles to paper, and now if you mention electronic voting also, I really want to be clear about it, because if we are defending these points, we should be very clear so that we can give good points for our colleagues to agree with us. So I want you to throw light on electronic voting, putting in context the illiteracy level of the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sise. We have Honorable Kante. You can take the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, able presenter. Thank you very much, colleagues. Your presentation definitely speaks a volume in the context that no person in this day and age should be disenfranchised. It's a constitutional right to partake in the electoral cycle or electoral systems of this country. We have various laws that curtails or lay down the modalities as to when and how that should be happening. And it's necessary at this point that the committee, through your submission, look at the salient points and make furtherance as to the realization of this actual fact. From your presentation, you did make mention of the constituent demarcation of diaspora. I just want to know, hence you have you did the study, how many constituents did you want the IEC, because they are wholly and solely responsible for determining that, but you can just give a prediction or guidance. How many constituencies do you feel that the diaspora should have? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kante. I now have Honorable Barrow.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you very much, Professor Fall, and also Stoller for the presentation. I think all the points that have been highlighted are very valid, and nobody doubts the work of the diaspora people towards the GDP and the economic development of this country. And whatever we do here as far as your participation in the electoral cycle of our country, we are not going to do a favor for anybody. It is your constitutional right, and all the sections have already been highlighted by you during your presentation. And I think this is the starting point where we need to start working and do the consultation further to include all the entities that are responsible for ensuring that this process is worked. As highlighted by our colleagues, during the 5th legislature, this was a concern, and then the IEC was coming up with technicalities and saying that the funds are not readily available to enable them to do it. And it's going to be very difficult for them to be moving with the ballot drums across the continents and regions to do this thing. But they have already done a declaration that henceforth all elections in the Gambia will be by ballot paper. So there will be no drums, there will be no marble elections in the country. The IEC has already made that statement, and we have to take it from there. And I think at the level of the executive, they have also been very cooperative and working with the diaspora that prompted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to set up a directorate for diaspora matters in this country. And with the consultations, I think one key thing that we need to do, as alluded to by the chair of the, by a representative of the Human Rights and Constitutional Matters, we need to have time to be able to sit down with all the key stakeholders and have a retreat where all our subject matter specialists and all the legal people who have the legal background on these issues to be able to take us through all these processes and enable us to come out with a statement and a report that is going to be led. Because the recommendation or the work of this committee is not final. As you know, Parliament, we are going to lay this report at a plenary where all the national assemblies are free to say what they feel and what is the best interest of the Gambians in what they need to do. And it has to be done clause by clause to ensure that all what is being discussed are captured. So we need to have time to be able to do that work, and in doing that, we need to continue the consultation. And I am in agreement with the Honorable Toure to better do this and come up with a very good report that will not be thrown out when it gets to the plenary, is to do a very good job. And in doing that, we need to do a retreat where we will invite the wider community and also the experts who have the experience in this area to take us through. And if that is done, I am sure we'll be able to come out and then do a presentation that will be the test of time, and then it will be adopted and we'll take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Barrow. Yes, for me, I just want to ask, because I can see 5 constituencies, but mainly in Europe and the America. So whether there was any consultation done in terms of demarcating, having a constituency within Africa, please. Thank you.
65 points, and you will pay electoral officers are based in the diaspora. And of those 15, 8 of them has embassies. The worst case scenario is possible. We will not, and the person we will not do that as one of our making this happen. All right, that is slightly more. Actually, right now, Iceland is openly doing based on that full stop. And not just the way as a kid, but anything else. As an investor, so irrespective, that is how bad. Then we absolutely take just for you on the road I do but we ask as additional that they should also have necessary in the room of electronic voting. So that that's how it is paperwork. And for the question of voting, we got times like for voting, for now we're saying for the diaspora. And coming back to the diaspora right now, almost every member of the diaspora has an electronic method to manage their money. And the method as it is foreign after with a maximum test payment that you want for finance. And for the diaspora, that is why we think about the option. Because we have got and we will be able to give an address and send it back to regarding how IBC funded and they are ready for funding, also ready
Thank you so much, Professor Fao. We have another intervention.
Okay, thank you very much. We can have next.
Thank you so much for all the speakers, honorable members, and we've heard Mr. Fal. I just wanted to bring some little bit more clarification because it seems like one of the sticking points is certainly the constituencies and the boundaries. If you look at the Constitution, Provision 50 is specifically on this issue. Provision 50 of the 1997 Constitution is speaking specifically on delimitation of the constituencies. Now, that was also passed by an Act of Parliament 6/2001, quite a while back. So, in there, the first two provisions are saying an Act of the National Assembly shall establish a boundaries commission which shall be responsible for demarcating constituency boundaries for the purpose of elections to the National Assembly. This power has been with the Parliament. Provision 2, subsection 2 further states, the National Assembly shall prescribe by an act the criteria for the demarcation of the constituency boundaries. That is also, since 2001, obviously, some of you were clearly not parliamentarians. That has been in there. But where we are now is subsection 3, which Mr. Fall has touched upon. Failing that to happen, that is 1 and 2. Failing those 2 happening. 3 is saying, until the National Assembly establishes a boundaries commission under subsection 1, the constituencies as prescribed in part 2 of schedule 1 to the elections decree 1996 and any additional constituencies required for the purposes of section 88 subsection 1a demarcated by the Independent Electoral Commission in consultation with the appropriate Department of State shall be deemed to be constituencies for the purpose of returning members of the National Assembly under that section. So it is very clear, having failed since 2001, all the previous parliamentarians, because they passed this as an act to fulfill that a particular purpose, which unfortunately has not been fulfilled. So 1 and 2, we can say, unfortunately, that has not been utilized. But now, subsection 3, which I believe falls right under, falls right under what Honorable, what Mr. Fall was saying, is clearly something that can be done, and if done in a timely manner, which the law does permit, will allow this whole issue of demarcation to be put to bed once and for all. Even without a boundaries commission, we can still go ahead. The subsection 3 of provision 50 in the Constitution provides for that, honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fall, for that response. I have Honorable Ture.
Okay, thank you. I think we are on the same path. Like you said, Taylor said, if the National Assembly did not establish the Boundaries Commission, then automatically the IEC can be asked to do it. You know, this is not the first time that happened. During Jammeh's time, Tiliwa Johnson, when Tiliwa Johnson was commissioner of the IEC, they actually demarcated the country. They did the demarcation. But it was at the dictate of the government in place. So they discarded and dismissed the commissioner. So we are in the same boat if we want the IEC to do it, because creating a commission, I believe, even though it's a good thing, but it may delay the process. Because even to create the commission, now we have to, you know, my sister said 5 years to go for election, but it's not 5 years to election, it's only 3 years. And you know, like I said, some 6 months to election, you cannot make any amendment, major amendment to election rules. So we need to move fast to ensure that the demarcation in the diaspora is done, the registration is done, so that they are at par with us, you know, and all the preparation is done. And if we are going to go for paper ballot, then, you know, that preparation also need to be done, because the Gambian people need to know how paper balloting is done, because they are not used to it. But we cannot continue, that's my own opinion, we cannot continue with the marble, because the only country in the world doing marble now is the Gambia. In fact, it's a shame. So, and there is no excuse to say that, you know, we have illiterates and all this, that's why we cannot go into paper ballot. Because Sierra Leone, all these West African countries also have illiterates, but they are engaged in paper balloting. So, and we should not also forget that the Gambians that are also outside are not necessarily literate. There are a lot of non-lettered people among them. So paper balloting, when it is properly sensitized, you know, can happen everywhere. But like we said, we need to move this thing quickly so that the ministry will be at that retreat. You know, the National Assembly members will be there, the IEC will be there. So we discuss at par and say this is the way forward. And then we come and lay our report and then we move on. I think that's the only quick way to really solve this problem.
Thank you very much, Chair. One question that I want Professor Fall to help me with. To be specific, in your engagements with IEC, what is the major challenge that has resulted for them not going ahead with all those proposals you have given to them? What is the major challenge they are faced with?
Thank you, Mr. Fall. I think we still need to have, an engagement with the IEC to trace out some of these issues. But fast forward, we still need to, work on this thing to make it happen. So, and as you said, the retreat might be very important, but like for September, we are having our ordinary session. So unless maybe after the ordinary session, we can try to see how best we can meet with, potential stakeholders in this bill, so that at least we can have something for the Gambian people. So,
the committee should, before we go on recess, invite the IEC on some of these key action points, so that should not wait until September. Let's have a session with IEC at least by Wednesday of next week. We put these things to them and say, act, and then we go on recess. That's my position.
Honorable Cisse.
Yes, I am also suggesting further. I'm in support of what the Right Honorable Cisse, Alhaji Cisse said. But I think if we may do it before Wednesday, would be better for us, because yes, because I am afraid we might not be having quorum, because some of the names will be on other engagements. Yes, so maybe before, if we can have it before. Yeah, but I think it's important, the clerk to also communicate to the IEC and then see. Yes.
I think because we can only have, especially as for other names who are going for other engagement, those people, and it's Monday, and Monday we have another engagement. There is an engagement, so that we have with population, no, not population, I think it's Gambia participate.
I think yes, Honorable Njai, I'm also having another proposal. Hence, we are resuming on the 1st, on the 1st of September from recess, and the first week would be, the first day would be on the 4th, which will fall on a Monday. I am suggesting that we have it on Friday and Saturday, the 1st and the 2nd, because then we would have resumed from the recess. The 1st would be on Friday and the 2nd would be on Saturday, before the 4th, because we are beginning the session on the 4th.
Yes, honorable members, the proposal is on the floor, so if you have any, the clerks. Okay, then. So then, clerks, we can, give you the space for you to at least contact them and see the possibilities. But for sure, if we can have it, it's fine. We can engage them. This thing, we can discuss that. Yeah. Thank you. So, without any further questions, I must use the opportunity to thank MSDG, the Gambia, for definitely engaging us. And as I said, the assembly, the committee is open to everyone as far as national development is concerned and the concern of the Gambian people are concerned. So for that being the case, we are very happy to have you here, and this session has really added value to some of us concerning some of the engagement that you had with the IEC. So for that being the case, we want to thank Mr. Fall and the team here for definitely taking your time to come. So on that note, I must equally thank our subject matter specialist and all the honorable members and our new Alhaji
my co-chair person of the Human Rights Commission, and all the other and director of committees. So we thank you. So and the clerks. So on that note, can someone, move for the adjournment of the session, please?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Then we will release the team from MSDG. Then we can proceed with our normal meeting. Thank you. On the AOAB, yeah? Yes.